Welcome to Forest Alchemy, where love, land, and community converge in a dance of wild creativity.
We're Mike and Allie, forest dwellers and soul partners, sharing stories and projects from our permaculture community homestead. Come gather by the fire, and let's explore the magic of connection, creation, and the living land. All right, welcome back, everybody.
This is episode something.
6, maybe? Sure.
6, 7, I don't know.
One thing we're excited about with this podcast is talking to a lot of people we don't know, but we're also super excited about talking to all of our amazing friends that we do know that are doing amazing things that are very inspiring. So today we've got our dear friend Nikki on the podcast, and she is a TRTP, I already forgot the word. Practitioner at Land of Light, and she's going to tell you all about that. Working with trauma and healing trauma, which we all need to do more of.
Yeah, and this is our first attempt at recording a remote interview, so we'll see how this goes too.
It's going to be great. In the midst of Mercury retrograde, but we've got this.
Yeah, this is our second try, but this is going to be the one.
Hey, actually, technically, it's like our 5th try.
Oh, that's true. Okay, it's our second day trying.
All right, and also Nikki is in the midst of downsizing from her house, their house. She's a family. Well, she isn't a family. She's part of a family. She's the matriarch of a family with 2 kids and her husband, and they are downsizing to an RV to travel around and start building a new home on new land. We're so excited to talk to her about it.
Yeah, I look forward to hearing about this story. I considered doing that for a minute.
Mm-hmm. Same. Well, where to start?
Well, thank you guys. What a great introduction. Thank you so much. I'm very excited to be here today.
We're excited to talk to you.
Yeah.
We've been trying to plan this for a while now.
I know. And through all the technology glitches, we made it.
We made it.
Feels
and we're
good.
Here.
Yes, it does.
We're
So,
doing it.
Where do you guys want to begin?
Well, can you tell everyone what TRTP is? I'm excited to
Yes.
learn. I didn't realize you were doing it through Land of Light. So for those of you that don't know, Land of Light is an amazing spiritual community in Kalamazoo. I used to go there every Sunday when I lived down there. They've got group meditations and lots of health practitioners and Nikki.
Yeah. So I'm new to the team there. It's been wonderful so far. Let me back up a little bit and tell you about TRTP, and then I can kind of tell you about my journey into Land of Light and becoming a practitioner there. So TRTP stands for the Richards Trauma Process. This is a process that's been established in Australia for some time, but it is coming over to the United States. It's fairly new here, and it is incredibly effective. I mean, it's a 3 foundational steps. So it's 3 2-hour sessions a week apart, and there's some follow-up too. And it's just working. It's so effective. It works with the unconscious. So you think about. You think of like a traditional cognitive therapy, which is great too, but can take some time. A lot of talking through, what's going on and the issues. But that is all dealing with the conscious mind. So TRTP is just really so effective and so different from a traditional therapy, because it's diving into the unconscious. And what we know about it is that is like 95% of our brain. So that is our chemical reactions, everything we do, our electrical responses to things, to situations. And I mean, it really is what runs our life. So we dive into the trauma exactly where it's stored in the mind. And through the 3 steps, the 3 sessions that you have, it takes you through, I mean, we're trained to really just work hand in hand with our client. Step one really puts you in a place of empowerment. Any negative, unconscious core beliefs that you may have, we turn them to the positive. We introduce you to the truth of who you are. I mean, we know this, that when you're a child, you take on the belief systems of those around you. And so we've learned through conscious parenting how important it is to raise our children consciously, right? And create this awareness.
Yeah, being completely intentional of every little thing.
Yes, because it gets stored in that unconscious. And so the first session is diving into those. Maybe it's just, some people are raised with a great, unconscious core belief. You're worthy, you deserve to be treated with respect. Others are, get out of here, I don't have time for you, and those start becoming the patterns in our life, the belief systems that run our life. And so,
and not only like from parenting, but from society, like societal patterns. Like even you can be raised with like the most amazing parents, and you go to, into the school system, and it's like those patterns are brought in from society.
Yeah, and I didn't always parent the way I do now. So I used to have this quote as a lock screen on my phone to remind me. It said, "The way you speak to your children becomes their inner voice."
Yeah,
100%. Yes. And then when they go out into the world, or, if they are in like a traditional school setting, and we know that the adult to child ratio in school settings is not beneficial to the child, they're taking on these belief systems. And this is what really gets stored in their mind and their body. And you can see with clients like the patterns that start running their life because they're unconscious. What it does, your body has a great way of keeping you in the familiar. So when you have these patterns from childhood or, events in your life, the next session we go in and we turn those loops off that are continuously playing in the unconscious. So we're going in and we're just doing a deep dive into turning those loops off.
Is it done through hypnosis or?
It's not hypnosis. The client is still very actively involved in the entire process. That is why I like it. So, but hypnosis is like diving into I believe, I don't know much about hypnosis, so I'm not going to speak on it, but this is, from my understanding of hypnosis is you're not involved in it whatsoever. The client is still very actively engaged in the process.
Yeah.
Through TRTP.
So this is really interesting to me because I have things come up that, like, I will know something, like in my conscious upper level part of my brain, but then feel something completely different, like in the lower part and just in my feeling part, and like the upper part's like, no, that's not true, but that feeling part is like, oh yes it is.
Because it's true in your body.
Yeah, and it's so hard. Like I want to I just want to make that lower part feel what I know rather than like feeling something completely different.
Right. And I say this a lot. I actually say this to myself when I'm like, trying different meditations or healing or wherever I am on my journey. I'm like, if my intellectual brain could heal it, I would have been healed already.
Yeah, totally.
So, there's always that next layer. And what TRTP truly provides for you is clarity. And I'm not selling anyone on it. I'm not going to say this, takes away everything. Like, life still happens. So you have to be, willing to put in the hard work. And your environment's a big factor too. If you're going back into a toxic environment, it's only going to be so effective for you. Your environment
like
is
with
everything.
anything.
Yes, with anything.
Yeah. That just brought up psychedelic healing as well. Like, so many people will go and have this breakthrough experience, and then they just come right back into their day-to-day life, and they don't have that time to integrate that medicine in. You've got there's so many different layers of that. And then like I always think of life too as like you're going up this like spiral staircase.
I say that all the time. That's so crazy.
It's like, you know, every like, you know, this part is like a certain season. It's like I learn the same lessons. I come back to the same lessons like along with whatever season I'm in. Like and even like, you know, in this cycle of like a women's cycle, it's like I feel like every month I go through the same patterns and I'm like, haven't I been here before? Come on.
You know, it's like you learn it, but on a deeper level. Like every time you go onto that spiral staircase, it truly is like, I mean, my spiral staircase, it's so funny you use that analogy. Sorry. Oh, can you hear me? Okay. Maybe we have talked about this before, like the spiral staircase, but I always, I can point out like areas in my spiral staircase. So it is family, friends, well, it's myself, family, friends, and work. And so I can see in the areas of where I'm at, and I start struggling in one area, and like now with the help of TRTP, because originally I went through the process and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is what I'm meant to do with people. I like truly just felt it. I'm like, this is what I'm supposed to do for people. And what TRTP provided for me was the clarity to be able to use the tools that I have been learning in the moments that I'm struggling on my spiral staircase and I'm needing clarity to get to a deeper level of my journey. And so circling back, like session 3, then create your future after having, you know, introduced you to the truth of who you are, stopping those loops from playing, and then you get to dive into the future of who you are now.
Oh,
it is a beautiful process, and I really I encourage people. There's tons of information out there on YouTube, lots of videos out there. It is very new in the United States, so I encourage people to do their research, and if it's something that really speaks to them, there's a ton of practitioners that you can reach out to. It's something you can do in person or online. So if you find the right practitioner for you, it really can be amazing.
And if you're listening to this and you're like, I want Nikki to be my practitioner,
hit me up.
You can hit her up
Land
too.
to Flight.
She's at Land to Flight.
So it's located in Paw Paw, Michigan. But like I said, we can do TRTP online too. So if you're, you know, traveling or you don't want to make the travel, also like we've mentioned, we're kind of on the move. I'm making a big move with my family. So in the winter time, we're going to be in Florida this year. So I will be doing all of my clients online while we're traveling. So we are going to the Tampa area, and we officially have like our campsite in Florida December 1st through February. But we are kind of going to play it by ear, because winters here are so hit or miss. Like sometimes it's snowing on Halloween. Sometimes we don't have snow till after Christmas.
Yeah.
So we've talked about, I want to stay here through December because I love the community here. I love where I work. I want to stay rooted here as much as possible and just be gone for the 3 months. But if the weather tells us otherwise, we're gonna follow that. Yeah, go with the flow for sure.
Yeah, go with the flow. Well, you got to check out. I think Tampa is pretty close to. What was it called? Wakanachi Springs,
Ooh.
where there's mermaids. I always wanted to go and work there. That was like, you know, I did synchronized swimming growing up, and that was like where so many synchronized swimmers went because there's not really like a synchronized swimming career. You can't become a professional synchronized swimmer, so people just became
mermaids. I'll be a manatee too.
It's really cool though. I'll be a manatee. That sounds fun.
Heck
just float around and eat grass all day. Oh. Except that getting hit by boats.
I think
all
I'd
the
be
time
one of the
is hard,
manatees
but-
out.
hard.
I'd be like so fearful of the boat. I'd watch my friend get hit by a boat. I'd be like, that's not gonna happen to me. Yeah. So.
yeah, manatees have it good.
So
Yeah. So what's it been like downsizing to your?
I was just gonna ask
To-
the same thing.
Yeah. I'm like we just downsized, but way more space than what you're talking about. I can't imagine having to downsize with kids.
And there's
there's
three of you-
four of
four
us
of you
here.
there.
So my husband Kyle, Amara, and Odie, and then we have a dog and 2 cats. So our big thing is we wanted to keep our animals with us when we
Nice.
moved. So we're figuring it out with them. I would say my dog has been the hardest part. She's definitely helping me level up on my patience. No, the cats have
How'd it
been
guess it was
great. I was
cats?
actually really nervous. And we have
wow.
indoor cats, so when the door gets left open, for some reason in a camper, the door gets left open way longer than in our house. So, we've had our one cat escape once. That was a little scary for me because my cats were my first children. So they stay with me through
Yeah.
every move I've ever made. So when they escape out of the camper, I get a little nervous because you don't know where you're at.
Yeah, I bet.
But honestly, it's
Yeah.
been really good. When we moved from our house to the camper, we rented a big dumpster, and it was like the visual of my mind decluttering. It was so amazing.
Yeah,
And I mean, we
totally
donated a
relatable.
bunch, but at the
Yeah.
very
Can
end,
imagine.
Kyle and I are both, we still look at each other randomly in the day and be like, aren't you so glad we rented that dumpster? Because it was just like a last minute thought. It was literally like the week we were moving, we're like, oh, can I swear? Okay, I was like, oh shit, like we
Yeah.
need
Yeah.
a dumpster. Like this is not good. How are we gonna move all this stuff?
Yeah.
So we have we still are storing stuff like at our parents' house, and we have like a small tent of totes, but it's been so nice. I can clean. Oh my gosh, I can clean so
Yeah, I
much
bet.
faster. I mean, I get the whole space clean.
Yep.
It feels good. Like I don't know. We never really missed a beat. Like we're constantly on the go. Like we were at the beach earlier today, and so, oh nice,
We're going to the
yeah.
beach
So
later
it's just
today.
like our home is just kind of our spot that we gather to sleep and we have meals together. But we are a very like on the go family. So, yeah, it's been
Oh,
really
that's
nice.
great.
Thank you.
I love that
And
for you guys.
so I will
Yeah.
say, my husband Kyle, he is an RV technician. So truly, if it wasn't for him, this move would be way harder for me. Like we've had things break. The repair is super fast for him. So that's nice. And that's why we
Yeah,
are
that makes a
traveling too.
difference.
So he's going to follow the work south because it does get slow here in Michigan for the job. So we're just like, I don't know, he brought this up to me about a year and a half ago, and I'm like, no, I can't do it. Like fun fact about me, I've never like moved out of this area. I was born and raised in Michigan. I moved down to Indiana for a brief second of my life, but I was still like a stone's throw away from Michigan. And so I'm like, this is a big
Yeah.
move for me. And I said, I could do it for 3 months. I could
Yeah.
move for 3 months and, go from there. But a season, yeah.
A season.
And so we bought a
Yeah.
small piece that we bought a little under 2 acres here in Paw Paw that we're going to slowly build on, like
Nice.
very slowly. We
Do you
do
have any
not
Paw
have
Paw
any Paw Paw
trees?
trees.
Oh,
they.
I've always wanted to try one.
Yeah, they are
mango.
like, I've heard they're like a mango. I have a reaction. Yeah.
Like a banana
Like a
mango.
I've
banana
heard that
mango,
before
yeah,
too,
that's
and I
what I've
have a
heard.
reaction to mango, so I will not try a Paw Paw fruit because of that.
Oh.
Which I'm I don't know, but
Are they
everyone's
related?
like, oh, it's like a mango. And I'm like, no, I don't want to risk it. So I was saying the mango, I haven't
Yeah.
really done research, but.
Okay, I'm gonna really squirrel us here, but I just remembered a question that I
Yeah.
wanted to ask about the TRTP, so I'm gonna go back to that now. So you've read, you're familiar with internal
Yes.
family systems. Weren't you reading that book? Yeah, at the same time. So I've been really into, oh shoot, what's the name of the book?
No
By
Bad
Dr.
Parts.
Richard Schwartz, who came up with internal
No
No
family.
bad pieces.
No bad
and the
parts.
parses.
Yep,
Yeah.
it's an
Yes.
incredible book. And I was wondering, like, as a practitioner of TRTP, how does that relate for you into internal family systems? Have you found?
Yes.
Do you know, you see where I'm
So
going
what
with
I
this?
would say is we all have parts of us, right? We all have different parts. And, you know, one of my friends, she says it very well. She looks over and she says, who's driving right now? Like, which part is driving right now? And yeah, and so we all have these
That's a
different
good one.
parts. And if you read the book, it really does go into like looking and talking and just being with this part, because something that we've learned through one of my favorite trauma gurus is Dr. Gabor Mate. Like, he says, yes, he's incredible.
Oh my
he's
God, we love
he's
him,
honestly
yes.
the reason why I homeschool. But
Yes.
Oh, you,
Yes.
must have read, you must have read Hold
Yeah.
On to Your Kids.
I listened to that on audio, and
Yep.
I was just like, oh my gosh. And thank goodness I have a community of homeschoolers around me. But so, you know, one of his big things is trauma happens when when you have processed something alone or something along those lines. So basically, you have two kids in the same house with an alcoholic father. One processes it as trauma because they're processing the situation alone, looks different than the other child, right? And so that now you have this part in this child who's alone. You know, this 6-year-old or 5-year-old or however they're experiencing that traumatic, that moment in their life. And now that part is in them, and it's continuously playing. And if we don't check in with those parts, if we don't love and care for those parts, they're going to run the show in fearful ways. And so, you know, TRTP
Right.
and parts work are different in ways. I am not like a certified IFS practitioner. It is very intriguing to me. I do parts work on myself personally.
Yeah, same. I love doing the meditations, and there's lots of really good meditations on Insight
Oh, I haven't
Timer
heard of that.
for IFS. But it's like a meditation app that's got all different kinds of
okay.
meditations on it. Yeah, it's a really
Okay.
Insight Timer. Yeah, it's really great. It's if someone would want to sponsor us, I'd be happy. So one thing that I find really interesting about IFS work is so many different like spiritual practices and like things that we come across are all about like getting rid of, like, it's like this like very negative, like, oh, you have this, they don't use like parts, but like you, like your ego, like what song is it that, was it Nako, that's like, today
That's
is a good day for my ego to die. And parts work is much different than that, because it's not about the death of the ego. It's like, no, like these are your parts that are here for a reason. They're your little lost children inside of you that are hurt and broken and need healing. And so instead of thinking of it as like, oh, we need to like destroy these parts of us that keep doing these stupid patterns, I love that it's like, no, we need to like sit down with these parts and love these parts, give these parts a hug, and then find them a different job.
Yes,
That part
and
is
that's
really
it. I
cool.
mean, we have to friend these parts of us, or I mean, they will run the show. And I am a very firm believer that killing your ego is an overcorrection. Your ego is there. We need our ego to survive. Like, our ego is here to protect us. I also recently, and this is very recent, so I'm still in like my thought process of it, but I'll share it with you. I also feel that way about anxiety. I think an overcorrection is that we shouldn't feel anxiety. Anxiety is a feeling that we shouldn't have. And no, our anxiety is here to help us. If we befriend it and we can work with it, it can actually take us to really great lengths. You know, like
like the panic monkey for us ADHD folks who like have a deadline. It might be 2 weeks away and there's no drive to do the thing until like the day before the thing is due, and then the panic monkey comes in and we get it done last minute.
Yeah, I've been doing some processing with anxiety lately too. We just randomly came across this video of like was he like a psychiatrist or no, not a psychiatrist, but a therapist or something. He works with the brain and he understands brain parts. But he was talking about how when you have anxiety, it's like this like rush of energy, right? And if you like pay attention to what it feels like in your body, it's like, you know, the tightening of the chest and like the stomach, and there's like all this like energy and like fluttering in your stomach. And if you like think about it, it's the same as when you feel excited. And so he's like, one way to kind of like help your brain through it is when you're feeling anxious about something, to actually tell yourself, oh, I'm really excited about this. And it's like, because like that is like, and this isn't in the case with like, there's just like anxiety that comes out of nowhere for no reason, it feels like. But like, for example, we're planning our Skillshare weekend and I keep like getting caught in this anxiety of like, oh my God, we have so many things to do, and like, how are we gonna do them all? And I'm so anxious about it. And I've been trying to like pause and be like, actually, I'm really excited about it. And it's like, because like that anxiety is there because like the panic monkey, it's trying to help us do the thing.
It's helping us get stuff done. We like almost have a composting toilet now.
Thanks anxiety.
I mean,
we just clean our trash
yeah,
in
and
the
it's like when you have
Thanks,
so
anxiety.
many projects going on, like this is classic Kyle and I. We have to give ourselves, we have to light a fire under our ass. So it's like, you know, if we give ourselves a deadline or reason why we have to do it, if someone else is counting on us, like it can't just be ourselves, that's when we do the thing.
Okay,
that accountability.
So I resonate with that one for sure. But it's like, that is one thing that I use a lot, is like I will, for a long time, like when I'm meeting up with friends to hang out, I would feel excitement, but I would be processing it as anxiety. And then understanding now,
totally,
anxiety, like when it is debilitating, you know, because anxiety can be debilitating. I've been there before when anxiety is debilitating, and that is when this is a symptom of a deeper, you know, rooted issue, right? And then your body, like, and it can start becoming physical, like physical symptoms. So we have to listen to anxiety, and we have to really understand what is my body telling me right now. And going back to TRTP, what I will say is somebody who has had extreme anxiety, it really provided clarity. So I had the opportunity to talk with my anxiety, to become friends with it, because life happens. You're gonna have anxious moments, but if you're constantly, like I was, if you're constantly up in fight, flight, and freeze, you don't have a chance to become friends with your anxiety. You're just trying to run away from it, because it doesn't feel good, at least in my experience. So that really is what happened for me in TRTP, was it took me back down, so that in those moments when I did go back up, because my anxiety was keeping me safe in a situation, I was able to recognize it and become friends with it, which is really powerful, especially in parenting.
Yeah. Yes. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, kids are triggering.
I can't remember where I heard this from, but someone, oh man. Anyways, they said having kids is the fastest path to enlightenment. And I felt that so deeply. I'm just like, oh.
Oh my
Yeah.
God,
I mean,
that's
truly, I would
incredible.
Yeah, it was,
Yeah.
kids were catalysts for
I
my
remember my
changes.
husband,
Same.
and we were actually just talking about this recently. We had a conversation. He's like, you know, your anger is out of control. Like, you need to figure out what's going on because it's not healthy. And that is like, if it wasn't for having kids, we would have never had that conversation, you know? Because I would never been triggered on those levels.
Totally.
And so because of that is really when I started this journey of healing. So
We have
I
a
see
baby
that.
that woke up, so.
Aww.
Hello, baby. Welcome. He'll be featured on many of our podcasts with noises and he's
Yeah.
usually playing with a
Aw.
loud car in the back.
Yeah, I forgot that we had the condenser running back there behind the house. I'm like, oh, that might be a hum in the background too.
I've heard the ducks
Hey,
a
we've got
couple
ducks in the
times. Yeah.
background.
Yeah, can you hear the quacking? Yeah, they like to be in it too. Yeah, becoming a mother, when I became pregnant with Jenny, that was absolutely the biggest catapult into like all the things. That was like the gateway drug for my whole life changing. Because I stopped, like, that's when I stopped the heavy drinking and the heavy smoking, and then also I was like, I wasn't just eating for myself anymore. I was also eating with this baby growing inside of me, so it like really changed. Like, I was already on the health path, but it just in all the ways. And then actually having a kid, and all the ways. Oh, okay. I just remember something from the Parts book yesterday. I read in the Parts book he talks about how the biggest like catalysts for growth are what he calls are your mentors, which are actually your tormentors. And he was talking about how like trauma and bad experiences and all these people can be your tormentors, which are catalysts for growth. Like he was like, one of my biggest tormentors is my wife. He was like, we have like, processed so much together. Again, our kids and our relationships, like all these hardships we go through, they're all just
definitely.
They're training.
Yeah,
For sure.
I'd say one of my I would say my journey healing really started after my second one was born. Like, my first is when I kind of started diving into nutrition, and I was diagnosed with a rare autoimmune disease after having my first, or shortly after having my first, and started on the Western medicine route, and they're having me do infusions, and I'm on steroids, and like we're wanting more kids at this point, and the doctor is like, well, you have to have these infusions every 6 months, and you can't be pregnant when you have these infusions. So like obviously like that's not going to work. So that's when I started I'm like, there has to be another way. That's when I started my nutrition, like just really diving into eating organic and just the importance of like what you're fueling your body. That didn't come, that came from me being sick. And then finally, like through that, I was able to get off the steroids and stop doing the infusions. And obviously, like, great.
And how are you feeling now?
A lot of it is stress related. So, just the stress I'm putting on my body before, like, knowing what heart math is. Like, now I have this amazing tool, which I'd love to dive into as well with you guys, that helps with my stress level. And then after I had my second, I just had this, I don't know, oh, thank you, Amara. I just started becoming this person, this parent that I did not want to be. I'm yelling and demanding
Yeah.
and threatening. And I don't know, 6 weeks postpartum with my second. And so I'm just like, something has to give.
man.
Like, this cannot be the way that I parent my children. So I took a positive parenting course. And that was right at the same time that I had met you, and found this amazing community of mothers who mother the way
Yeah.
that I always have wanted to. But yeah,
It's so important.
yes,
to
because
have that
when, I mean,
community. Yeah.
truly, it is not easy. Conscious parenting is not easy. And, you know, I think,
Nope.
yeah, it really isn't. And you have to really be so incredibly intentional about it 110% of the time. And I mean, the truth is, we're all going to make mistakes. There's no perfect parent. But, you know, that's
Yeah.
where,
I think that's the hardest part of it,
Yeah.
is the guilt you give yourself when you know better.
Yeah.
And you make a mistake in the moment, because now you know how to be
Yeah,
Miss Perfect Parent,
right.
so you better be
Like-
Miss Perfect Parent.
Yeah. My counselor's like, you hold yourself to high standards, and that's because I'm like, that's because I
Doing it,
know
yeah.
what I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm not doing
yes,
that all
definitely.
the time.
Yes, we are. At
But
the
we're
end
all
of the day,
doing
we're all doing
great.
great. And my thing is that when I do make a mistake, it is the repair for me. I'm like, how incredible would it have been if
Yeah.
we were
Yeah,
given
important.
the repair when we were children?
Right.
Okay, guys, so this episode with Nikki was incredible, and unfortunately, technology was not on our side. And at one point in this part in the episode, her phone died, and it, like, well, actually later in the episode, it died, and then it deleted everything back like 10 minutes. So we have this chunk of like 20 to 30 minutes of just gold.
Yeah, the site that we went with for recording remote podcasts is supposed to be good for quality because it records. It's not like sending the audio over the internet and then compressing it so that it can do that. It records it on the person's device in a higher quality file, and then every so often it uploads it. And her phone died, and we lost a whole 20 minutes of conversation. So then we had to go back and like where we picked back up, like it wouldn't have made sense to like start there, so we like kind of like tweaked it so it sounds right. And we're really bummed. It was like such a good conversation that we were having about parenting, but
Yeah, we've got some notes of what we talked about, because it did save what we were saying. So we don't remember what Nikki said, but I did go back and listen to what our responses to what Nikki was saying were, and I've got notes on it. And there's just some like really good gold moments that we wanted to kind of touch on at least a little bit. And then Nikki, we want you back on to talk more about parenting.
yeah. And since technology is not always cooperative, it's just gonna have to be in person. Y'all are just gonna have to drive up this way and park in our yard for a little while.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so where we left off, we were starting to talk about repair, which I think is, I don't know, this might be dramatic, but I feel like it's the most important part of parenting.
Yeah,
Wouldn't you say?
yeah, for sure.
Because no one is perfect. There is not a single parent on this great earth that is perfect.
And there is, I could probably count on one hand kids that I've known who were like raised this way from day one. And those, if somebody was raised with this parenting style, which did not, I believe, exist in our generations, but it's like starting to be a thing now. I feel like they're going to be starting off with so much further ahead, because right now we're trying to like overcome how we were parented, and like when you're not in a great mental space, that's the default in the background in your brain that just wants to come out, and you just have to, it takes everything in you to keep it in. And I love parenting with you so much, because like I see that and I'm like, holy shit, if I was the you right now in this moment, I don't know if I'd be as calm as you are right now.
Well, you know, speaking of repair, my brain kind of shifts back to my own childhood. And you know, when I talk about my own childhood, I want to make sure that I'm never like I don't want to put any like blame or shame on my parents, because just like me, like they're doing the best they could with what they had. We all are. So
Yeah, and then I think about like the more I learn about psychology, the more I can like piece together why my parents were the way they were.
right, totally.
So like
and I have more empathy for them.
Yeah, because like I know a little bit about my mom's like childhood to like know some of the traumas that impacted her life, and like it's really hard to recognize that like how you parented, and to like recognize and admit when how you were parenting wasn't good, because you know we're like we don't want to think of ourselves as like, oh my god, I fucked up my child, but like sometimes you gotta be like, fuck, I can do better, and I need to do better for them. It's not about how I feel about it, it's about what's best for them.
Right. Well, and so the one thing that was really hard for me was when there was a big blow up of some sort, I would run away to my room, lock myself in there, and cry for a long time. And then when I was ready to come back out, it was like nothing had happened.
For them. But the fear inside me,
yeah,
and probably you,
yeah,
was probably still there.
Oh, yeah. So, like, that's something that I feel like is extremely important for children, is that we come together afterwards and talk about it. And so, like, that's something that's really important for me with the girls when I get triggered, because parenting is really triggering. Don't know if you guys have noticed that, but these guys are like just little fuses that just love to poke you in any way. And once they find out how they can really poke you,
then it becomes fun, and then it's a game, and it's like, oh, let me continue doing this thing that's poking you because I see that it's annoying you.
So we all get poked, we all get triggered, and we all make mistakes, and that is normal. And what we're saying is what you can do, instead of just like wallowing in your guilt and shame of how horrible of a parent you are. I like to sit down with the girls, preferably right after, but this can be a long time after, and say, hey, I was not my best self then. And what we like to do is what we call the rewind. Yeah. So I say, hey, can I get a rewind of that? And they'll be like, yeah. Or I'll ask them to rewind a
or you'll
situation.
say, would you like to
Would
rewind?
you like a rewind? And then we make the noise. And
everybody gets a giggle.
Yeah, which always, no matter like how angry we're feeling, like in the moment, whenever you make that noise or you hear that noise, it's just fun. And which that brought up Dan Siegel's Whole Brain Child, which is one of our favorite parenting groups and favorite parenting authors.
Yeah, his book, Whole Brain Child, he's got a bunch of books that are really good. But the Whole Brain Child explains kind of the neuroscience in simple terms and like illustrations of how our brains work versus children's brains, and like how they're developing, and like the parts that they don't have yet, and like how. Yeah, just understanding all this makes such a huge difference.
Well, so with the play aspect that you're bringing into this like tense situation, or even if it's been a while and everyone's diffused, when you're bringing the situation back up, like whatever they were feeling in that moment's also coming back up. So then you're kind of taking this play and you're doing what like he calls engaging the upper brain. So that is the upstairs brain. So that's like the thinking, reasoning, play brain. And your lower brain is like the primal instinct, fight or flight side of the brain. And when you're like triggered in this like intense emotional state, that's when you're in that survival fight or flight.
And the sympathetic nervous system.
Yeah. And so you can do things in the moment or after to engage the upstairs brain. So play does that, but also like asking questions too, like getting curious. These things engage the upper and kind of get you and your child out of that lower
and this
brain.
Engages their prefrontal cortex, which is the part that like does the thinking. It's the part that goes offline the quickest when in the heat of the moment, which is why we're doing this with our kids, so that we can help program it into that lower part of their brain, so that way when their upstairs brain goes offline, it's still in there.
Yeah. So, and doing these repairs And like, this isn't just woo. Like I said, like, this is neuroscientists that are, this is a cool thing about living in this day and age, is that we have science now that can really explain all these things that like intuitively parents knew back in the day. But we now know that going back and like literally rewinding this memory is rewriting that memory in their brains and their hearts. And like, you know, bringing up another book, The Body Keeps the Score, like we hold on to this stuff in our bodies even if it's subconscious. So
yeah, and then you don't know why it's come. What when you're triggered in in your adulthood, you might not often even remember the event that your body is now responding to.
Yeah. And so you can repair even things that are from years ago. Like, you know, like this is something you've talked about with the boys, that like you've brought up like things that happen, like the boys are teens now.
Yeah. And there's things I wish I like could have done differently when they were younger. So like there's like sometimes a memory will pop up of like something I didn't handle right, and I was like, you know, if I'm thinking about it, I wonder if it's like coming up in them, even if they don't remember it, like maybe subconsciously. So I've been going back and I'm like, hey, you remember when? And then I'm like, I explain a situation I handled differently. I'm like, man, guys, I lost my shit. I wish I was more the person I am now. And here's what I wish I would have done or said instead.
And you've even done that with your 21-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, I think that is incredibly powerful. And I think that I think this is like I said, I think this is one of the most powerful tools that a parent can have. And especially like when, you know, I was very blessed because when I was pregnant with Jenny, my first, my midwife had this huge bookshelf that she just, you know, would let anyone that was a client of hers have free range of. So I read every single book, that was about like conscious parenting on her shelf. She was like amazed because I just sat and read all day, every day. And that was my pregnancy. And I'm so grateful for that. And I soaked up so much information about conscious parenting and, you know, positive parenting, like whatever you want to call it. But yeah, that was a big thing, was repairing. And just reading about that was like so validating for my inner child that I could parent like that. And like, it was like, but it's still, you know, even though I had that in pregnancy, that doesn't come out all the time. And like, I'm still doing repairs all the time. And like, not everyone did get that opportunity to start parenting like this from pregnancy. Some people are starting off, you know, years into parenting.
Yeah, that was, so for me, it was, I started just knowing that like there was a different way to handle things and I was handling it, and I didn't know how. I just knew that how I was handling it was wrong. So like I started changing that. Like that's what I just started doing. I just started stopping like responding the ways I was responding, but I didn't yet have what to fill it in with. So like it was hard because like, you know, when something happens and you need to like handle it, like I would get stuck because I didn't want to handle it how I used to, but I wasn't sure what to do. So then I found these new books, and then I started finding books. I think for me it started with Gabor Mate. That was my first.
Yeah.
That was one of my first books, and it wasn't even you know, it was his ADHD books that people like question his thoughts on like ADHD being caused from childhood trauma. But that's not the point. The point is like the information that he shared and like how things, how we react to our kids when they're small matters, and that stuck with me, and that sent me digging for more. So I just kept, I was looking for I found podcasts and then books, and you know, it was hard for me, like, and like reading this and seeing like knowing this was out there and that I didn't know it, and I didn't even think to look for it. Like nobody knows when they don't know how to parent. They just like handle a situation, and like whatever their parent did was default, and that's,
you don't have to do that.
You don't have to do that, but you have to know that you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
And you have to know that there are other things out there. Like so many people like look at us now and they're like, oh, you guys let your kids get away with everything because we don't like scream at them or beat them. or spank them. I'm like, no, that's not the way you handle
Or put
it.
him in timeout.
Like someone was getting after me like that. I'm like, would you go hit somebody at your office if they were doing something you didn't like? I don't think that would fly. So if that wouldn't fly with another adult, how is it okay that you can hit your kid?
Well, also, like, something that I find really ironic is, like, we don't even want kids treating other kids like that. So, like, you're teaching and no shame or judgment on this.
Right.
Like, at all. Like, that
You're where you're at. I hope you take this information and be like, oh, there's other things I might want to look into.
Right. But just, like, kind of looking at that and, like, the irony of, like, oh, we want to teach our kids not to, like, yell and scream at us or yell and scream at other kids or hit us or hit other kids. And so we yell and scream and hit them.
You know what? One of the biggest a moment that, like, that's, like, always just I'm blanking on the words. It's kind of a showstopper. I don't know if that's the right phrase. But it's when you hear your kid say something to another kid that you said to them. And you're like, oh, that doesn't sound right coming from you to them. Fuck. Well, lesson for me, don't say that thing to you. If I don't like the way it sounds coming out of their mouth, I shouldn't be saying it to them. And, like, and then sometimes, like, again, like, you'll hear something like that, and you didn't even, in the moment, you might not have even thought that was a bad idea to say to them. Right. And so that might have been something funny, like just saying something, like, in a sarcastic, smart-assy type of way. I'm not even talking about being mean. I'm just like, the different things we say. When you hear it come out of your kid's mouth and it doesn't sound right, didn't sound right come out of yours either. Sorry. Right, and here's an opportunity for repair. In that moment, you can be like, ooh, I said that to you the other day, didn't I? And I thought it was okay for me to say that, but hearing you say that to your sister doesn't feel right in my body. And I just want to voice that because, like, I'm sorry that I said that to you the other day because I don't like the way that sounds when it comes out. It doesn't feel good. And it means so much to them when you do that because they're like, oh, they acknowledge when they don't do right. And then they learn that they can acknowledge when they don't do right. Right. Yeah, like when I don't like to force children to apologize for something. So, like, in these repair moments, it comes up naturally. So if I'm like, even if, like, I had this blowout moment with my kid and I'm yelling or, like, well, I don't really, like, yell. No, you don't yell. But what I'm making mistakes in how I'm presenting information to them. I'm not saying things from my best place. And the funny thing is sometimes you say that after the fact and I'm like, you were, like, golden when you handled that, but you're like I think sometimes you like you've got the energy, that's not the energy that you have inside you, and that's what you're thinking of. But I feel like a ball of fiery rage inside, and like, I don't yell. I actually get quieter the more triggered I am. I'm like that mom that's like just, like, whispering when I'm really enraged. How could you do that? You little. But anyway, when I, like, where was I going with this? When I have these moments and I, oh shoot, I lost my train of thought. Derailed. No survivors. Derailed. What were we talking about before? Parenting, repairing. The ball of rage that you feel inside sometimes that's not coming out. Oh well, whatever it wasn't meant to come out. Yeah. Maybe it'll come out in another episode. We're going to talk about parenting a lot. Yeah. Yeah, I think we just covered what we were talking about with Nikki just so we... Yeah. Yeah, because, like, we talked about repair, and this is a huge one for me in parenting, and I couldn't let that one go. And I'm sure that we'll talk about it a lot more in the future. Oh, for sure. And we'll definitely talk with Nikki again. Yeah, and we're definitely going to be talking with other parents, so this will come back. So that was kind of the gist of what we talked about, Nikki. Like, it wasn't, obviously wasn't word for word. We just kind of flows out as it does. Mm-hmm. And, and another thing that we talked about was, parenting books. Obviously we talked about the parenting books that we just shared with you, but we are finding that it's difficult to find parenting books around our specific situations, which are, first of all, blended families. So,
you know, Mike and I both have kids that live in 2 homes. So, there's, you know, most of these parenting books, it's assumed that you have your child from birth to 18
And
every day.
and it's assumed that this is how you're parenting from day one. I've not come
Yeah.
across anything that's like, oh, did a terrible job the first 7 years, then realized it, had a radical awakening, realized that I was doing that and completely changed who I was. But the effects of the first 7 years are still coming out, and now how do you deal with that?
And maybe these books do exist and we haven't found them. And
Yeah.
if you know these books, please tell us. But in the meantime, we're just convinced that we're going to write these books eventually.
Yeah, we learned a new term in the past couple of weeks. So normally, like in a relationship, you're co-parent, or like when you have kids, you're typically co-parenting. Like you're trying to share the same values, and like for the most part, like not. But when you have exes that or just have radically different values and do not see eye to eye with you, and like parent completely different, that's one that we've struggled with. And we recently came upon a new term called parallel parenting that we need to do a little bit more.
Yeah, maybe
digging
there's
into.
books if we look at it from that term, parallel parenting. But yeah, we'd really like to come across these books or write these books because there's a lot of divorce in this culture, so it's not like we're in a unique situation here.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people who like didn't do their best from day one and want to like repair and move forward in this in like a new way of parenting, the authoritative parenting style.
Yeah, as opposed to like authoritarian or permissive. There's the middle way, so to speak, is authoritative, which is, for those who don't know, freedom, but within boundaries. Like you have boundaries, you have your nose, and that's like these boundaries are put in place as like safety. Like you're looking out obviously for the safety of your child. And then also like your own sanity. Like parents have to keep sane, right? So you do have boundaries.
Sane-ish. I don't know if we'll achieve full sanity. I don't know if that's a thing.
Yeah, that's true. But permissive is, you know, no boundaries, basically. Authoritarian is all boundaries, and it's not explained why there's boundaries. It's just because I said so. Which like is very hard for a child, especially me growing up, because I need to know everything.
Yeah, and it's easier to understand why. Like, just arbitrary no's, like they don't make a whole lot of sense. But if you explain to somebody like why, and you have a discussion, it's probably gonna be accepted a little better, and like maybe you'll learn something too, because maybe they've thought of something that you haven't.
And again, you're engaging that upper brain instead of the kid walking away with their primal brain still being activated.
I just heard a hack, which I've been trying to remember. Instead of telling your kid no when they approach and ask you something, say ask me again after, and then like insert something that they need to do, and it like engages their thinking part so that they will. Yeah.
All right, so where you're going to come back into this episode is, well, I don't remember how we got into this conversation or the beginning of this, but talking about Mike and I and her and Kyle, and how we are like different,
How our
and
brains work
how our
differently.
brains work differently, and how that like really works well for us in relationships. So yeah, sorry again for the technical difficulties, and I wish you guys could have heard Nikki's input in this conversation, but again, we're going to have her on later.
Yeah, and then when I reach out to Nikki and explain it to her, she's like, I guess that section wasn't meant to be.
Yep. So here we are. Enjoy the rest of the episode.
Computer work, and he's smart with that kind of stuff, but also just the way his brains work with like machines. Like my brain doesn't work like that. I'm like, let me just use this old janky shovel and complete this job. And Mike's like, but what if we took the shovel and we turned it into a machine that could do this in 5 seconds?
Yeah. That's definitely Kyle's brain. Like, that's where we balance each other out so well.
Yeah.
That's why I love, like, hearing your guys' podcast and what you guys are doing. I see a lot of similarities in, like, the balance of the relationship. That's just how his brain works. I mean, it's definitely, like, for me, like, I take more of the lead on, like, the energy flow in the house, or, like, how I things, like, want to look, or I'll be like, this is the idea that I have, and he's like the one that's like, okay, this is how we have to make that happen, this is how we have to build that thing to make what you want. Like I'm like, I have an envision for the outdoor kitchen, and I'll help you along the way. But you're the one that's like creating it, right? You're the one that's like building it. So it's cool to see people who have those like relationship dynamics too. So.
What, you just had a thought?
My brain is all these conversations lead to like little squirrel trails. One time I was in a counseling session. I sat down I'm like, can I have a whiteboard and a marker? And every time, as he's talking, every time my brain went down a different path, I drew a new limb on the tree, on a new stick on it. And by the time I was done, I had this like huge tree. So you're just talking about outdoor kitchen, and that made me think. We're looking at a yurt frame on Marketplace, and the lady just sent me her address earlier, and I'm like, oh, we're going to the beach. It's actually on the way to the beach.
Oh, there you go.
Right.
I wanted to swing by and look at a yurt frame.
Cool.
Yeah, we
So
need an outdoor kitchen.
Yeah, so we can have an outdoor. I don't know if it'd be an outdoor kitchen or like an outdoor workshop space, but
Yeah, outdoor workshop space.
That's cool.
Oh, so another random thing that we were talking about was writing parenting books. But we also have been really thinking about writing children's books. Weren't you interested in that too?
Yeah.
Were you part of that?
Yeah, Haley and I are co-creating a children's book right now.
Oh, great!
It's really exciting. It's been kind of on the back burner since the move. It tends to be the thing that is like the passion project. But yeah, we are in. It doesn't have a title yet, but we have like a direction. So it's an alphabet book, and it's all about tools for you and your child to have together.
Aww.
And it's tools for the child, but it dives into the parenting side of it. It's very, I want to keep it very short and sweet, because as parents, not all of us have time to, or take the time to like sit down and read the entire book or listen to it. These are just tools that have worked in our households. Like Haley is somebody that I lean on a lot in my conscious parenting journey. So we're always talking to each other about like what's working in our house, what's not, what tools does she use, and vice versa. And so when I started this idea of this book, I'm like, she's the illustrator. So, and
beautiful.
Yeah, she's a great writer too. So she's definitely helping on the writing aspect as well. But yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited about it.
I'm excited too. I just have to get back to this conversation's been so inspirational. So I'm like, or inspiring. So I'm like feeling the flow of maybe I'll like start writing tonight again.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But when you get into like, like moving, like you guys experience this downsizing, like when that right, like the Maslow's hierarchy of needs pyramid, that basic need of shelter is not being met, literally everything else falls to the side.
Yep.
Yeah,
so,
totally.
Last year.
Yeah, when I was pregnant with Sky, that's when we found out that we weren't going to be allowed to stay in the house that we were at, and we were going to have to move. And at that point, we had no idea where we were going to go.
Yeah, we were expecting to buy that. We were at that meeting where we were told that we had to move. We were expecting to work out the deal where we were going to be buying it.
Wow. And like, you have that basic need for shelter, but then also being pregnant, and that like
nesting,
like that you feel. It's like, oh my God, where am I going to nest? Like I'm needing to move like right after birth. Well, we weren't sure when we were going to have to move, but that like unknowingness of like, we have no idea where we're going to go.
Unfortunately, it's pretty quick that we knew where we were going to go.
Yeah. And then it was just the process of moving. Oh my God. But yeah, it does feel
moving
good.
With a newborn.
A newborn. That was special. And 4 other kids. But yeah, that downsizing does feel good though.
Yeah, and unfortunately we brought like a lot of stuff with us that we should have just gotten rid of, and we've been slowly, we're still like almost a year later, we're still making regular trips to Goodwill.
Yeah.
Just like dropping off, getting rid of stuff.
Yeah, because at the beginning we were like able to really, focus on what can I get rid of, what, before we're putting it in the box, and then you know how it is towards the end of the move, you're like, just shove it all in the box. Yeah. We'll deal with it later.
Yeah,
we still left it behind a lot of stuff.
Yeah, that's when I'm like, thank the universe that we had this dumpster, because
Yeah.
normally I'm like that in a move. Just shove it in the box, and I'm like, we cannot do that in this move.
Yeah.
So it was like,
Yep.
it's going in the dumpster.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I wish we had done that with some stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
taking it from there somewhere rather than bringing it here first.
Yeah. But we did it, and you did
yeah.
it.
You did it, and you're moved in, and it's flowing good. I'm excited to come and see your guys' space. I haven't been up there since your wedding, so
Yeah. Yeah. So when are you guys starting your build on your house?
So we're starting now. It's completely vacant land, so it's we have to do a lot of clearing out the gate. We are being hosted by a beautiful older couple right now. They're just amazing. It's been a really great place to stay, and almost too great. It's like I gotta light this fire under my ass because this is going really nice where we're at right now.
Yeah,
But
totally.
we're gonna be working over there this weekend. We have a lot of clearing to do. One of the big things that I did out the gate was a little land blessing with just Kyle and I over
Aw,
there,
beautiful.
just to like let the trees know what we were doing, and
Aw.
like we're gonna try to keep. Well, we are going to keep all of the trees that we cut down on the property in some way or another, whether that's like milling it or keeping it. We talked about like using a lot for the driveway.
Well, and you
or
guys,
the-
do you still have your woodworking company?
Yeah, so my dad's like sawmill is up in Jackson. So
Oh, cool.
we have that as an option for like milling, and then we still have our like macrame and wood business on the side. So we are in Kalamazoo Kitty and right in Kalamazoo, Michigan, where we have like our macrame and wood items there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so we do have a passion to like, keep the trees around, or the trees that we do have to cut down, still keep them around on the land. But we're, right out the gate putting a well and a septic before we can even start building.
Yeah.
So, but at the same time, I'm just like, I want to enjoy my summer. Last summer, Kyle and I, we're really good at spending quality time together building stuff. Like that's what we enjoy doing
Yeah.
together. And
Yeah.
last summer we completely redid a travel trailer together, and we're still working on that. But
Oh, I
so
remember
this
that. You
summer,
brought that up.
yeah, we brought it up for the wedding. So I was like so proud. I'm like, oh, we finally can like use this thing.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. So this summer, I'm like, I know we have this big project, but I still want to enjoy summer. I still want to like have weekends to do things. We love going to Michigan Adventures once a year. So we're like, we still have to make time to do that.
It's like 10, 15 minutes from us.
I know. If I lived as close as you guys, I'd have a pass. I'd have to. I would be there like every other day. I love
Park up
Michigan
here.
Adventures. Plug
I
for
wanna
Michigan
go.
Adventures.
I've never been.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
it's so fun.
Yeah, let me know when you go.
Yeah, it's 2 parks for the price of 1. You can't beat it.
Is there a water park too?
Yeah, there's
Park.
a water park and
Oh, that's cool.
roller coaster. It's
Yeah,
like a
I had
smaller
a-
Cedar Point.
Yeah, I had a place like that called Wild Adventures that was pretty close, and I was there all the time. I got season passes, and oh my god, yeah. Those are such fun memories.
Yeah.
I don't know if the girls would be into roller coasters though.
Yeah, they do have like a kids area that's more like fair rides. That's like
Yeah.
our jam over there. And then we pretty much stay in the water park all day.
Yeah.
But this
Yeah, that
this
sounds
summer's
fun.
filling up fast, so hopefully we find some time to get out there and enjoy it.
Yeah, I can relate to the last summer for us too is going from one house to the next. So we had
Yeah.
no time.
So managed to go to a couple music festivals.
Yeah, we went to music festivals. That's a given. But it's like, we didn't do our family bike ride, and we didn't do times at the beach, and it's like I look back on that, and that's like one of my favorite ways to guilt myself as a parent. Like, especially with my girls, like it's been a really hard transition going from being with them 24/7 to half of the time. That's been really, really hard, and especially with like just looking at like a year seems even shorter now because it's really only half a year with them. And and so like every year that goes by, I'm like, I can't waste a single year. It's like it already went fast, and now I only have them half the time. So it's like now my time with them feels even more like precious and tiny, you know.
Yeah.
But,
those are the moments when I start like, especially like guilt around parenting, and I just start like just spiraling down like all of the things that like I could do differently, or you know, like I messed up over here. Like my brain's really good at just like, hey, you're having a really good time right now. Let's think about that one time you yelled at your kid. Right?
Yep.
Yeah. And so for me, I like pause and I intentionally think about a time where I was the best mom ever. And I just like freaking killed it, and it was so great, and like radiating that into my body of like, I deserve, you know, like I can sit here and feel guilty, and like where am I feeling that in my body? And also, and thank you for showing up, and now this is a reason why I deserve to feel happy as a mom, or I deserve to feel appreciated, or you know, whatever feeling it is that you get to choose.
Yeah. And like feeling great, that's something that helps me with anxiety, is like starting off my day thinking of things that I'm grateful for, you know. But also I just thought of too, we were talking about anxiety and how like it's a valid and important emotion. I've been learning a lot about guilt versus shame, and like guilt is actually something that is helpful. Like, so when we feel guilty for something, like the reason that we have guilt is so that we do better next time, right? So so it, like thinking of it like, okay, yeah, like I also am a really amazing parent, and like, you know, that's really helpful as well. But also being like, okay, well, am I just gonna like wallow in my guilt today and just like be stuck in it, or am I gonna use this energy and try and do better? Like, what's something that I can do to repair it, you know, and like use this, like, because it's a sacred emotion too.
I like that. I'm gonna write it down.
Yeah. And like also with parenting, like, you know, I was like, I dealt with a lot of like, and I still do deal with a lot of shame. So shame, the way it was explained to me by my therapist was that guilt is like the you know, you feel bad because you did this thing. Shame is you are bad because you did this thing. Instead of like, you're, you know, guilt is you know, you're just like a normal person who made a mistake and you can do better. And shaming is like it's the full, like when you are shamed into like believing that that is who you are, like you're a bad kid, you know? So I think about that a lot in parenting, of like a child feeling guilty for something that they did that was hurtful. That's okay. Like that is how they learn. Whereas like shaming a child and being like, you're a bad kid because you made this mistake. But yeah, I feel like I will have like really, really big feelings come up when like, you know, my kids, I can tell that they feel guilty about something, and it triggers this thing in me of like, oh my God, I hope I'm not like shaming them, and like they're gonna, but I've been trying to like look at it differently of like, oh no, it's okay for them to feel guilty, because, you know, like I don't need to be mean about it, but I can like tap into that so that they can learn and grow from it too.
Yeah, I really appreciate that perspective on it, because I am somebody like that where I'm like analyzing, why is my child feeling guilty right now? Am I shaming them? And guilt, now I'm viewing it as like anxiety. Like guilt is a feeling that we need to learn how to process through it.
And we can talk. And we can talk to our kids about it. Like, like, are you feeling guilty right now? Like, you know, and because it's a new experience for them too, right? And like, it's an important feeling that they have to go through of like, you know, it's okay to feel guilty because you made a mistake, and it's okay to make a mistake, but we can like use that energy to do better. So this baby is done with this.
With podcast.
He's like, I want attention now. Yeah. I'm going to tear your boob off.
It's time to go look at this yurt and go to the beach.
Yeah. It was so good talking to you, Nikki.
Yeah, thank you so
I
much.
love this so much.
Yeah.
Thanks for being our remote podcast test.
Yeah,
Yes.
this is great. And going through my technology glitches too.
Yeah, we made it through Mercury retrograde.
This is beautiful. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you
you.
Yeah, enjoy your evening.
You too. Talk soon. Have fun.
Bye.
Bye.
As we come to the end of today's journey together, we pause for a moment of reflection. Here in the forest echo, we let the voices of wise teachers ripple through the trees and into our hearts. Today, we'll listen to words from Dr. Gabor Mate and from Shefali Sayberry's, not sure if I pronounced her name right, The Awakened Family.
Or Dr. Shefali.
Dr. Shefali. It's a new book that we just started. And also, Nikki shared a book by her, so I thought it would be appropriate to...
That was an interesting synchronicity. We both started reading a Shefali book on the same day and not knowing the other was reading one.
Yep, and now we're sharing this episode with Nikki. These are reminders of the roots we grow from and the love and present that guide us forward. First, Mike will read the quote from Gabor Mate.
So funny enough, this is Gabor Mate quoting or paraphrasing W.M. Winnicott. So he says, fundamentally, two things can go wrong in childhood. One is when things happen that shouldn't happen, and then things that should happen but don't. In the first category is the traumatic and abusive and abandonment experiences, what shouldn't happen but did. But then there is the non-stressed, attuned, non-distracted attention of the parent that every child needs that children very often don't get. They're not abused, they're not neglected, and they're not traumatized. But what should happen, the presence of the nurturing, emotionally available parent is just not available to them because of the stressors in our society and the parenting environment. Psychologist Alan Shore calls that proximal abandonment, where the parent is physically present but emotionally absent.
And here's from The Awakened Family. The time for a new beginning has arrived, where family is no longer the chain that binds us, but is the earth from which we blossom, and the sky we learn to fly. No matter how the family unit looks, it begins with a parent and child, a relationship that holds the energy of the sun with power to break patterns and resurrect the spirit. The awakened family waits for no one. It begins to heal right here, right now. It recognizes that these sacred bonds can revolutionize the planet.
Thanks for joining us in the forest. If you felt a spark, share this episode and leave a review. It helps grow the mycelial network.
Follow our journey on Facebook and TikTok at Soulfire Forest. And until next time, stay rooted and radiant.